4. Developing project. 4.1. Adding activities to a project. Activities represent the core work components of a project. They form the lowest level of the work breakdown structure, WBS, and are the smallest units of work that the project manager directly oversees. 1. Select the project where you want to add activities. You can open the project by using the File menu, choosing Open, or by right-clicking the project name to display the shortcut list. Depending on your user preferences, the new activity wizard may open automatically to assist you in creating the activity. 2. At the activities level, add a new activity by clicking the Add button or by right-clicking an empty space in the Activities window and selecting Add from the shortcut list. This opens a new activity row where you can begin entering details. 4.1.1. Define general activity information. 1. Primavera automatically generates an activity ID for each new activity based on the auto-numbering rules defined in the Defaults tab of the Project Details window. 2. When you create a new activity, Primavera assigns a default duration according to the settings defined in Admin Preferences General. These defaults determine the initial duration value displayed for new activities. 3. Primavera also assigns a default start date to the new activity based on the project's data date, which is defined in the Dates tab within Project Details. 4. A default WBS is assigned automatically when a project is created. Newly added activities will initially inherit this default WBS. If needed, you can assign a different WBS by selecting the desired WBS element from the General tab of the Activity Details. 5. Choose the appropriate WBS element from the Select WBS dialog box to ensure each activity is placed in the correct WBS location within the project structure. For point 1.2, define activity types. To define the activity type for a specific activity, open Project Activities. Select the activity you want to update, then open the Activity Details window and go to the General tab. From there, choose the activity type that best represents how the activity should behave in the schedule. 1. Choose task dependent if the activity's resources should follow the working hours defined in the activity calendar, rather than the calendars assigned to the individual resources. 2. Choose resource dependent when each resource assigned to the activity must follow its own calendar. Use this option when the working hours vary between resources. 3. Choose level of effort if the activity's duration depends on the progress of its predecessor or successor activities. Note that constraints cannot be applied to level of effort activities. 4. Select Start Milestone if the activity marks the beginning of a major stage in the project. Thus, start milestones do not have time-based costs, resource assignments, or durations. 5. Choose Finish Milestone when the activity marks a major completion point in the project. Like start milestones, finish milestones do not carry durations, resource usage, or time-based costs. 6. Select WBS Summary if the activity's duration is dependent on the activities assigned to the same WBS level. However, you cannot apply constraints or assign resources that drive activity dates to WBS Summary activities. 4.1.3. Define activity duration types. Choose Project Activities. Select the activity whose duration type you want to define, open Activity Details, and go to the General tab. Then choose the appropriate duration type as follows. 1. For task-dependent activities. Choose Fixed Duration and Units. Use this option when the activity must finish within a fixed duration and the total amount of work is fixed. Any change to the units per time will not change the overall duration. Choose Fixed Duration and Units /time. Choose this when the activity must finish within a fixed time frame regardless of resource assignments. The remaining work is recalculated based on the available units per time. 2. For resource-dependent activities. Choose Fixed Units /time. Use this option when resource productivity, units per time, is fixed and must remain constant. The duration will change when the total units change. Choose Fixed Units. Choose this when the total amount of work is fixed. Increasing resource assignments reduces the activity duration, while reducing resources increases it. Units per time remain constant when changing duration or total work. For point 1.4, define activity % complete types. Choose project, activities, select the activity whose % complete type you want to define, display activity details, click the General tab, then select the % complete type based on how you report progress for the activity. 1. Duration % complete. Use this option when progress is best measured by calendar time rather than effort. Primavera calculates progress based on how much of the planned duration remains. Duration % complete equals original duration, remaining duration, divided by original duration. This method suits activities where time, not work volume, represents real progress. 2. Physical % complete. Choose this option for activities where progress is easiest to report based on physical measurement or observable completion. This method is ideal when work cannot be evaluated by time or effort alone and requires the project team to manually report the level of physical completion. 3. Units % complete. Select this when progress should be based on the amount of work accomplished versus the amount remaining. Primavera uses actual and remaining units to compute progress. Units % complete equals actual units divided by completion units. This method works best when activities rely heavily on measurable labor or equipment hours. 4.1.5. Assign a calendar to an activity. 1. Open project activities. Select the activity that needs a calendar. Then open activity details and click the General tab. 2. In the Select Activity Calendar window, choose whether you want to pick from global calendars or project calendars. If needed, use the Display Options bar to control how the calendars are shown. 3. To format how the calendar list appears, choose Custom View Table Font and Row. This allows you to adjust the appearance of the calendar list before selecting the one you want. 4. Use the table, font, and row settings to change the appearance of the calendar list. From this window, you can choose a different font, adjust the font color, and set the row height to control how each calendar entry is displayed. 4.1.6. Enter activity durations. 1. Open Admin Preferences, then go to the Time Periods tab. Set the project's calendar and the standard number of work hours for each time period, so Primavera can automatically convert the values you enter into the correct duration format. 2. Open Admin Preferences, then select the General tab. Choose the starting day of the week for all calendars and define the default activity duration that Primavera assigns when creating new activities. 3. Go to Project Activities. Select the activity whose duration you want to edit, then open Activity Details and choose the Status tab to view and update all duration fields. 4. To enter the original or planned duration, type the amount of time followed by the time unit in the original field. If the time unit label does not appear, enable Show Duration label under User Preferences Time Units. 5. Enter actual duration only for activities that are already completed. Type the duration and time unit in the actual field. 6. For activities in progress, update the remaining field by entering the remaining time and unit. Primavera uses this to calculate the activity's % complete. 7. Use the @complete field only for activities that are not started or not in progress. Enter the full planned duration and time unit for the final expected duration. 4.1.7. Enter activity start and finish dates. 1. Go to Project Activities. Select the activity whose start and finish dates you want to enter, open Activity Details, then click the Status tab. 2. To enter the activity start date, use the Started field. Click the Date selector to open the calendar and choose the appropriate date. 3. Check the Started box to confirm the activity's actual start date. Type the date directly in the field or select it from the calendar. 4. To enter the activity's finish date, click inside the Finish field and choose the correct date from the calendar. 5. Mark the Finish checkbox to validate the actual finish date. Type the finish date or choose it through the calendar selector. 6. If Primavera displays a confirmation dialog while you enter or change start/finish dates, review the constraint message and select Yes if you want to accept and apply the constraint. 7. If you do not apply must start on or must finish on constraints when entering dates, Primavera may adjust those dates during scheduling. 4.1.8. Assign resource to activities. 1. Open project activities, then select the activity you want to assign a resource to. Open activity details, click the Resources tab, and choose Add Resource. 2. In the Assign Resources window, select the resource you want to add to the activity. Click Assign, then click Close to complete the assignment. 4.1.9. Enter unit information for resource assignments. 1. To enter the budgeted or planned units for the activity, type the required amount in the Budgeted Units or Planned Units column. 2. To record actual units, type the value in the Actual Units column. Actual units can only be entered for activities that are either in progress or already completed. 3. To specify the remaining units, type the amount in the Remaining Units column. You can only enter remaining units for activities that are currently in progress. 4. If time units do not appear beside the numbers you enter, enable the Show Unit Label option in User Preferences Time Units. This ensures the system displays the correct time unit label next to each value. 5. Primavera P6 automatically recalculates unit-based values using the time conversion rules defined in Admin Preferences time periods. This ensures your entries are adjusted according to the project's standard time unit definitions. 4.1.10. Enter cost information for resource assignments. 1. To enter the budgeted or planned cost for the activity, type the amount in the Budgeted Cost or Planned Cost column. 2. To record the actual cost, type the value in the Actual Cost column. This field is used when costs have already been incurred for the activity. 3. To enter the remaining cost, type the amount in the Remaining Cost column. You can only enter remaining costs for activities that are still in progress. 4. Enable link actuals to date and actual this period units and costs if you want Primavera to update both the budgeted cost and the remaining cost automatically when you enter actual cost for an activity that is not in progress. 5. If you want Primavera to update both the budgeted and remaining cost when you enter an actual cost for an activity that is not started or is not in progress, enable the link actuals to date and actuals this period units and costs option under Project Details Calculations Resource Assignments. If you prefer to keep the budgeted or planned cost fixed and adjust only the remaining cost, uncheck this option. 6. To keep the at-completion cost unchanged when entering actual units or actual cost, set when updating actual units or cost in Project Details Calculations to subtract actual from at-completion. This ensures that entering actuals does not change the final planned cost. For point 1.11. Dissolve an activity. To dissolve an activity, it must have both a predecessor and a successor. Select the activity you want to dissolve, then choose Edit Dissolve. Dissolving an activity removes it from the schedule and reconnects its predecessor and successor activities to preserve the logic of the network. Primavera automatically links the predecessor directly to the successor to keep the flow of the schedule intact. Example, if activity A1000 has a finish-to-start relationship with activity A1010, which in turn has a finish-to-start relationship with activity A1020, dissolving activity A1010 will remove it and link activity A1000 directly to activity A1020. For point 1.12. Define milestones. 1. Open project activities. Then select the activity you want to turn into a start or finish milestone. 2. Choose the activity you want to modify and highlight it in the Activities window. 3. Open Activity Details, then click the General tab to access the activity's main setup options. 4. In the Activity Type field, choose either Start Milestone or Finish Milestone. Milestones do not use durations, time-based costs, or resource assignments. For point 1.13. View activity float values. When you open Activity Details and select the Status tab, The float field shows how much delay the activity can absorb without affecting the start of the next activity in the sequence, the activity's immediate successor. The total float field shows the amount of time the activity can be delayed without affecting the overall project finish date. If needed, you can also display total float and free float as separate columns in the activity table to compare float values across multiple activities. Primavera automatically calculates both free float and total float each time the project is scheduled. Float values cannot be edited directly because they're computed dynamically based on relationships, constraints, and scheduling logic. For point 1.14, view activity summaries. 1. Open project activities. Select the activity whose summary information you want to review, then open activity details and click the Summary tab. 2. To view summary information related to the activity's units, select Display Units in the Summary view. 3. To view summary information related to the activity's cost, select Display Cost in the Summary view. 4. To view all start and finish dates for the activity, choose Display Dates in the Summary view. For point 1.15, copy and paste activities in the activity network. 1. Select the activity you want to copy, then choose Edit Copy. Before copying, Primavera will open the Copy Activity Options dialog box where you can check the specific types of information you want to include. Mark the items you need, click OK, or enable Do Not Show this dialog again if you don't want this window to appear the next time. 2. When copying and pasting activities within the same project, any associated risks are copied as well. However, if you copy and paste activities into a different project, the risks will not be copied. 3. Primavera then opens the Renumber Activity IDs dialog. Choose how the copied activity IDs should be created. Adjust the prefix, suffix, or increment value if needed. Then click OK. You can also select Do Not Show this dialog again if you want to skip this step in the future. For point 1.16, renumber activity IDs in the activity table. 1. Activity IDs can be renumbered in a single project only. However, you can renumber activity IDs when multiple projects are open, but you cannot renumber activity IDs when you select activities in multiple projects. To renumber activity IDs for the current project and, if applicable, renumber the same activity IDs and baselines for this project, select the activity you want to renumber. To select multiple activities, use Ctrl+click or Shift+click. Choose Edit, Renumber Activity IDs. 2. Specify how the new activity IDs should be generated in the renumbering dialog box. Then click OK to apply the changes. 3. If baselines exist for the project, the option Renumber Selected Activities and Baselines will be checked automatically. This ensures that baseline activity IDs remain aligned with the current project's activity IDs. 4. If activities such as a 1000, a 1010, a 1020, a 1030, and a 1040 are renumbered to new IDs like S1000, S1010, S1020, S1030, and S1040. Primavera checks all baselines to ensure no duplicate activity IDs will be created. If Primavera finds a baseline where the renumbering would create duplicates, both the current project and the associated baselines are renumbered together, and the updated baseline is saved permanently with no option to undo the change. 5. If you choose to renumber activities back to their original IDs, and Primavera detects that this would create duplicates in one or more baselines, it displays the Baseline Duplicates dialog listing which baselines would be affected. Primavera automatically avoids renumbering any baseline where duplicates would occur. If you clear this checkbox, Primavera disconnects those activities from the baselines, and the renumbered activities will be treated as new, independent activities. 6. If you are using automatic numbering with the same prefix, a, suffix, 1000, and increment value, 10, Primavera will display the duplicates dialog box after you click OK. Enter new activity IDs in the New Activity ID column, then click OK. If you choose Cancel in the Duplicates window, Primavera will not renumber any activities, even the ones that do not have duplicate IDs. 7. If Primavera detects duplicate IDs, you will be prompted to resolve them. Click Yes to return to the duplicates window and enter unique values in the new activity ID column. Click No to return to the activity table without applying any renumbering changes.